Good morning and welcome to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's only local morning show, giving you exclusive access into people, businesses, and events in our community. We're bringing you this show live daily, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. with your host, me, Maddie Mustion. Before we dive into today's show, every week we highlight someone, an educator, student, business, or organization from our Greater West Bloomfield community going above and beyond. If you would like to submit an entry for someone, you can scan the QR code on the screen and fill out the Google form with the person's name, their contact information, and some reasons why you think they should be recognized here on the Splash Live for our Person of the Week. Now let's go check out what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. The first event we want to look at is the West Bloomfield Township Public Library virtual events. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library are hosting a ton of fun and educational events for residents of West Bloomfield in all age groups. Today, they're having their 10:30 a.m. Terrific Tots program that helps to kickstart your child's love for learning and books through stories, music, and movement. For this program, recommended for children ages 1 to 3 years, you'll check out the Storytime kit that can be rented through the Youth Services desk. Also today at 6:30 p.m., they'll be having one of their virtual education programs, and this week they're teaching West Bloomfield residents the ins and outs of Canva. This is a great free graphic design website that will help you to create art for yourself and your business. For these events and all other virtual events at the library, you can register on their website at wblib.org. Something else that is ongoing at the library is your ability to rent out those great literacy and tender topic kits that can help your child with their literacy skills and ways to learn about tough topics that are happening in our community. You can rent these out by stopping into the library or calling the Youth Services desk to reserve a kit of your choice. The next event we want to look at is the Spring Fling Egg Hunt. On Thursday, April 14th, you can join in the Easter Egg Hunt fun at Marshbank Park. West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation is hosting their egg hunt, where you can hunt for eggs and redeem those for cool treats and prizes. There will also be a meet and greet with the Easter Bunny, a petting farm, and trackless train rides that you, your friends, and family can enjoy. Registration for your specific age group event can be done through the West Bloomfield Parks website, and make sure to bring your own Easter basket to carry all of your prizes and eggs. The registration for this event is $7 per West Bloomfield resident child and $9 for all children who are not residents of West Bloomfield. The last event we want to look at is the Sylvan Lake Garden event. On Thursday, April 21st, the Sylvan Lake Garden Club invites you to an evening of learning about how to use native Michigan plants to support the declining pollinator populations and create healthy yards, trails, and lakes while minimizing the rain runoff and flooding. Led by Erica Kleitz, the Director of Oakland County Cooperative Invasive Species Management at the Six Rivers Land Conservancy, there will be a social time starting at 6:30 p.m. and presentations for this event will start at 7. This event will be held at the Sylvan Lake Community Center. If you have an event you would like us to feature here on the Splash Live, you can send us a message on our social media pages at Civic Center TV and on Facebook at Civic Center TV Queen. Coming up, we'll be talking with the Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Byron Turnquist. But before that, we held the 4th annual State of the Communities address this year that allowed leaders in our 4 communities to talk about topics that are impacting our Greater West Bloomfield community. During the address, the leaders talked about their community programs and how they're helping to keep their communities connected, especially during the time of social distancing and virtual events. Let's go check out what our community leaders in our 4 communities had to say. This year, for the 4th annual State of the Communities address, we talked to leaders in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Keiko Harbor, and West Bloomfield about how certain topics such as the COVID-19 pandemic and infrastructure are changing in their communities. Let's go check out what the leaders had to say about their community programs that they had last year and how those will be changing in 2022.
We had a very successful family fun night this fall. We replaced skate night to more of a family fun night with a live band, and they're planning on trying to do 2 or 3 of those during the season this year to really help with that entertainment. We're definitely getting back to having a Memorial Day parade this year. The Easter egg hunt, I believe, is going to take place. We're going to still have our tree lighting ceremony. They did, because of COVID, they did a Taste Tequigo a little bit different this year, where you discounts at restaurants to go in there. I think the hopes are is to get back to having a taste of Kegel at Santia Hall and maybe even in the outside out there.
Visits to Apple Island, which of course is owned by the West Bloomfield School District, and it's very well worth going over there. There are going to be 2 new boats this year that West Bloomfield has bought. Our annual community block grant funds are dedicated to and allocated to the Haven shelter. We do this pretty much every year. Our St. Mary's Fair has been a big item in our community for years. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen this year. Of course, it didn't happen last year, and I'm not sure what the future will bring. But those are some of the things that we've done.
A bit over a year ago, we passed an ordinance to provide a system by which residents can submit an application to hold a community event in public spaces. It has been incredibly successful, and we are thrilled to see our community center being regularly utilized by residents. The change has brought food trucks, small outdoor concerts at our community center, a weekly game night and yoga event, and public speakers, and anyone has the opportunity with a good idea to make it a reality in Sylvan Lake. Our greatest asset is the community we foster. We have hardworking, generous neighbors who want to participate and work together to make Sylvan Lake the prettiest little city in the state of Michigan.
The health fair will be held, I believe, on June the 9th. And this is a good opportunity to commend Suzanne Levine, and you know her. She's the president and executive director of the West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. Imagine having that role during COVID when businesses are closing. She maintained that organization. Our Parks Commission and our library, they constantly are offering programs, especially to senior citizens.
You can watch the entire 4th annual State of the Communities address to hear more from your leaders about these topics and what's going on in your community. Reporting for the Splash Live, I'm Maddie Mustion. For more information on the State of the Communities address and to watch the entire program, you can visit our website at civiccentertv.com or head over to our Civic Center TV YouTube page to view the entire conversation that I had with our 4 community leaders here in Greater West Bloomfield. Later on, we'll be taking a look at our person of the week who has made an impact in the lives of her students in the vocal arts and theater programs. But before that, we'll be talking to Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Byron Turnquist. All that and more after this short break.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Mustion. Safety in the West Bloomfield community is always the top priority for our police and fire departments, especially during the spring as the weather gets warmer. Joining us now to talk about how you can practice fire safety during the spring and summertime and make sure that you, your family, and your friends are staying safe with the weather warming up and some celebrations coming is Byron Turnquist, the Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield Fire Department, here to give us some tips and tricks on how you can stay safe, especially in our West Bloomfield community. Byron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
So Byron, as the spring is here, what are some of the most common calls that you guys get at the West Bloomfield Fire Department regarding issues with fire in our community?
Well, fire and injury related, as people are out in their yards cleaning up the dead debris and vegetation from over the winter, it's very important to be safe. If you're using a ladder to get up on your roof, make sure that the ladder is properly set on the ground so that it doesn't slip out from under you. Make sure that you have the proper size ladder. You don't want to use a ladder that just barely reaches the roof. You want to have one that extends above the roof to give you a handle so you can easily transition from the ladder to the roof. As far as fires go, one of our biggest problems with fire across the West Bloomfield community is careless cooking. Whether it's really all year long. It's not special to just spring, but our most common cause of fires in the township is unattended or careless cooking.
And then Byron, for those people in our community who are cleaning up debris and possibly wanting to burn some of their debris in their yard with open fires, how can the residents in West Bloomfield contain their open burning to keep our community safe?
In West Bloomfield and the Tri-Cities, that's Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake, there is no open burning. You have to bundle up your yard waste and put it out at the curb to be collected by the trash people. So there's no recreational or open burning. You can't burn your yard waste.
And then Byron, when people are celebrating Memorial Day or the 4th of July, there tends to be fireworks that come with it most times. Can you give us some safety tips for those dealing with fireworks and how people that if they are purchasing fireworks, they want to celebrate those holidays, how they can make sure that they and their loved ones are staying safe?
First thing is when you're purchasing the fireworks, make sure you buy them from a reputable fireworks store. Don't buy them from a friend. You want to make sure that they're consumer grade fireworks that are meant for people to use. Moving forward, for the Memorial Day holiday, you can use fireworks on Saturday and Sunday before Memorial Day. You can use them between 11 a.m. and 11:45 p.m. And then you're not supposed to be using consumer fireworks until the July 4th holiday.
And then Byron, with those spring and summer, the warm weather is coming with it. Can you give us some advice for checking the fire extinguishers in the homes and boats possibly as people are bringing out their boats to celebrate the summertime?
Yeah, if you're a boat owner and you're getting ready to enjoy your boat this summer, make sure you go over the fuel lines, make sure you go over all the mechanical aspects of your boat, make sure everything's working properly. And it's also important to inspect your fire extinguisher and to make sure that that's ready. The Coast Guard has changed the regulations starting this year. Any fire extinguisher that's over 12 years old needs to be replaced. You can check the date. It's usually stamped on the bottom of the fire extinguisher. It'll be near the UL number. You can check the date, and if it's, for example, if it says 08, that's most likely a 2008 fire extinguisher. And you want to replace it with at least a fire extinguisher that's got a 5B rating. Most stores have marine fire extinguishers designed for being on a boat. They'll have a 10B rating, and that's a good idea to have. If you've never used a fire extinguisher before, having a larger fire extinguisher gives you more product and betters your chances of extinguishing a fire if it were to occur.
And Byron, as the fire marshal here in West Bloomfield for the fire department, are there any things that we haven't covered that you want to talk to our West Bloomfield residents about? Make sure that they're staying safe, especially with those injuries and the fire here in West Bloomfield.
As we move forward in the spring, we're starting to see more severe weather. If you come across the down power line following a storm or at any time, stay clear of it. Don't go anywhere near it. If there's a metal fence or a shed or anything else in the area, you want to stay away from that. You don't want to touch anything that may be coming in contact with that power line. Stay away from the area, keep pets, keep kids away. And then if you do lose power and you're using a generator, you want to make sure you keep that away from any open doors or windows. If the generator's too close to combustibles, it may cause a fire. If it's too close to windows and doors, you may get a buildup of carbon monoxide in your home. So the other tips I always talk about, make sure you have working carbon monoxide alarms in your home, and make sure you have working smoke alarms in your home as well.
And then Byron, for any of the non-emergent calls that the West Bloomfield residents have, if they have any questions about the fire safety or injury-related safety measures that they can be taking in their households, what's the best way to reach out to the fire department to have any of those questions answered?
You can call us here at the fire admin. It's 248-409-1505, or we try to post fire safety tips on our social media pages, which is our Facebook page at West Bloomfield Fire, and then we have a Instagram page as well.
Well, Byron, it was a pleasure having you on The Splash this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Once again, I was joined by the Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Byron Turnquist, talking about some of those safety measures that you can have to make sure that you are staying safe all year round, as well as specifically during the spring and summertime. Our person of the week this week is someone who is impacting her students through showing them passion for theater and the fine arts. Sheryl Hauk, the fine arts coordinator for the West Bloomfield School District, has gone above and beyond to make sure that her students are pushed to be the best version of themselves on and off stage. Let's go check out why we named Sheryl our person of the week. Our person of the week this week is someone who has inspired her students to be who they are and strive to be their best selves on the big stage. Sheryl Hauk, the Fine Arts Coordinator for the West Bloomfield School District, is our person of the week this week because of her passion for teaching her students the art of theater and music. Sheryl has been the Fine Arts Coordinator in the district since 2015 and has been involved in the district's vocal arts program for over 17 years. During her time in the district, she has worked with her students in the fall plays and spring musicals and worked with Lakers Express throughout the year. This year, 6 of Sheryl's 16 choir students competed at the Michigan Music Conference All-State Tournament and got to represent WB and the choir program. During her interview on The Splash Live, she got a little emotional when thinking about all the work her students have put into their work over the past year.
Makes me very proud. We have an incredible community and school district, and they support our kids through all of this. And when we as the teachers are able to send kids to represent us, and in my situation as the choir teacher, 6 of the 16, it just says to everyone, you know, this is not just about these kids, it's about our community. And I'm very proud of that. And so I feel a little bit emotional about talking about it.
Recently, Sheryl has been working on the West Bloomfield High School's production of Big Fish for the spring musical, and even brought in Bobby Steggert, who was in the original production of Broadway, to talk to the kids about what the musical means. Sheryl's love for her work and the students shows through the time that she dedicates to her classes and extracurricular clubs. Her passion for teaching and inspiring her students is why we named Sheryl Hauk our Person of the Week. Thank you to Sheryl for all the work that she does in the school district to promote the fine arts. And if you're interested in seeing their production of Big Fish, April 28th through the 30th, you can contact the school regarding purchasing tickets. We're going to take a short break here on the Splash Live, but when we get back, we'll be talking with Nicole Ferguson about World Autism Month and her story in helping those with autism move their bodies and have fun. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Nicole after this break.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
11 teens a day die from texting and driving. Don't text and drive.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Mustion. April is World Autism Month, which aims to inspire conversations about autism and teach others how they can help with people with autism reach their full potential through inclusion and kindness. Joining us now to talk about Autism Awareness Month and how she is impacted by it is Nicole Ferguson. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us again today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
This is one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
So, Nicole, will you first tell us a little bit of background information on how autism impacts your life and your family's life?
Well, I have a couple of kids, and I just noticed there was something just a little bit off about my son, and I just went and just in coordination with his pediatrician, just made sure I documented my experiences with him. And then there's a pretty extensive process of testing to find out that my kiddo was on the spectrum, but actually we got him involved in early intervention is the key, and we got him involved in a program at Oakland, in Oakland County, at Scotch Elementary here in West Bloomfield, and he's been thriving ever since. And I've been teaching. I'm also I'm a health and wellness coach, and also a yoga teacher. So that's when I started my my education in what I could do in my field that would help my son just kind of self-regulate. So that's one of the reasons.
And Nicole, can we talk a little bit about what World Autism Month means to you to be able to dedicate this time and advocate and teach others about autism and how the people that are diagnosed with it are impacted?
Well, this is it. It is a special month, and I think we should use this time to really celebrate our kids and their special skills in autism. And there's several Facebook groups, but I am part of a Facebook group that we showcase our son's skills. So I just showcase my son and I doing yoga. He's really good at headstands and inversions, and we actually do a lot of, they're called mudras, which is just yoga for your hands, and it helps with kids, and it helps bring their brain together, brings the right and left side of their brain together for them to help self-regulate and control their impulses and regulate their emotions. So, and I'm also working with the Jewish Community Center. They have a special needs department, and we also participate in yoga with special needs kids there as well. And it's just one of the things that they can feel proud about. It helps build confidence, and it's really time we showcase our kids and their special gifts to the world.
And Nicole, your passion in health and wellness has allowed you to help those with autism through yoga. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the different programs that you have done with those who are diagnosed with autism?
Well, I've actually been a part of my kiddos' classes from the very, very beginning at Chico Elementary, Doherty Elementary, middle school. They kind of kick you out around that time, but every single class, every single week, pre-pandemic, and I hope to be back in the schools, but all kids can get benefits from their yoga practice with in the classroom. And believe me, after you kind of know the signs, some kids probably haven't been diagnosed or haven't gone through the process that show signs of special needs.
And Nicole, could you talk a little bit about how yoga and how you figured out that yoga is beneficial to those children who are diagnosed with autism and on the spectrum? What types of mental and physical practices and capabilities does yoga bring to those kids who have autism?
Well, I know when my kiddo gets a little bit out of sorts or upset, I ask him to do certain things, and you start to train the brain to regulate. And he goes back to those things, just like in social work in school. They teach you to go to maybe count to 10 or what are the things that help calm you? And yoga is just part of that tool basket that that we use to help our kids feel better about themselves, to calm themselves down, and to regulate their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, and it determines how they proceed forward, how they learn, and they can do poses, they can do we call them mudras, different forms of hand yoga that we do in class, and they actually help either regulate their mood, either bring them down, or even bring them up.
And Nicole, could you talk a little bit about the journey of dealing with your son who has autism, and giving advice to those parents who are either have a child that is newly diagnosed with autism or someone who is seeing those early signs of autism, and some advice that you have for them as they go through this journey?
Oh, absolutely. Get support. Do not go through this journey by yourself, or but have the courage to go through this journey. Michigan Alliance Autism, I'm probably have it out of sorts, but the Autism Alliance of Michigan is a great place to start. And with your pediatrician, if your kiddo is young or under 18, is also a great place to start. And be persistent. Be persistent with the school. Know that you have rights for your kiddo to get evaluated. Interface with other moms that you might think might have kids on the spectrum. And my mothers have been a great resource for me, and actually being online has been a great resource. But don't stop, be persistent, search out for help, and it's your kiddo can only benefit from everything that you're doing, especially right now. The earlier the better, always.
And Nicole, for those parents that have a child with autism, can you give us some information on those yoga classes that you do with those children who are on the spectrum, as well as some of those other programs that you're involved with?
Well, right now classes are just starting to populate, and we're starting to open back up in the fitness centers and places. And right now the Jewish community, they have the Jewish Community Center, which is open to everyone. They have camps going on this summer, and there's also camps that they have going on for like spring break, winter break, things like that. You can contact them. They're the number kind of evades me, but they're definitely on the web. Just look up Jewish Community Center, West Bloomfield, Special Needs Department, and that's a part. I'm going to be teaching some yoga there this summer, which I'm super excited about. And so that's just one. That's right now. That's the only place that I'm teaching yoga right now.
Well, Nicole, it's such a pleasure talking to you as always on the Splash Live. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me, and thank you for bringing attention and awareness to autism and those of us who have kids on the spectrum, and how we want to improve their lives and just make them just successful in this world. So thank you very much, Maddie.
Well, we appreciate you, Nicole, and thank you so much. Once again, I was joined by Nicole Ferguson, who talked with us about how autism has impacted her loved ones and what she is doing to inspire those dealing with it in order to reach their full potential. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you again to Byron Turnquist and Nichole Ferguson for joining us this morning on the Splash Live. A special thanks to our Zoom producer, Jared Clark, for coordinating the Zoom and making sure our guests joined us. And a big thank you to our new board operator, Tyler Keefe, for making the show possible this morning. And thank you for joining me as we explored all of the people and events in our Greater West Bloomfield community. As always, you can make sure to tune in live on civiccentertv.com and on AT&T Channel 99 and Comcast Channel 15, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. to catch up on what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. You can also watch our show every morning on My Michigan TV. It's a new streaming service that covers all of the great people and events happening around Michigan. You can either head over to mymytv.com or download the My Michigan TV app on your smartphone and smart TV. For all of our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, and West Bloomfield, thanks for watching The Splash Live.